If you need protection, you need one who you can trust. To secure your investment, you need one who'll do you just. TDC Insurance, you're the one that you can trust. TDC Insurance, you're always safe with us.
TDC Insurance is your go-to insurance company for all your insurance needs. We take pride in offering you the best solutions and ensuring our customers are fully satisfied. TDC Insurance, we take good care of you, guaranteeing you peace of mind.
You're always safe with us.
The biggest party in sports is back with the Patriots Party Stand powered by Carib Premium Lager. Come enjoy 3 for $10 Carib and $5 Rockstone while watching the exciting matches. Warner Park Cricket Stadium comes alive from August 23rd to the 27th with the CPL Patriots Party Stand powered by Carib Premium Lager. Tickets available now at all Carib Brewery Drinks Depot in St. Kitts and Nevis and only on match day at the Warner Park Ticket Booth. $40 before game day and $55 on the day of the match. For more information, follow us at Caribbean SKN on Facebook and Instagram. I'll see you there. People make the world go
round. Good morning, St. Kitts and Nevis, and welcome to Inside the News for today, August 19th. I'm Jermaine Abel, sitting in once again. I'm in the hot seat again for Inside the News. And this morning, we're going to take a look at some of the biggest stories making the news this week and try to make sense of them this week. Well, today at least. We heard instances of criminal activities occurring in St. Kitts and Nevis over the last several days. We had several shooting incidents, and we had, at least this morning again, we had someone who was injured in an early morning shooting incident. Then we also had the spate of robberies over the last week since I've been here in the hot seat. So we'll jump into all of that, and then we had the Prime Minister also talking about his findings from the Development Bank. So yes, we have a lot to discuss this morning on Inside the News. Yes. So as I was saying, it was a very busy week here in St. Kitts and Nevis, regionally and internationally. We have several tropical disturbances out in the Atlantic, both in the Atlantic itself, between off the coast of Africa and between the Caribbean region. We have one disturbance way up north, and then there's one out in the Pacific that's likely to impact California sometime, either today or tomorrow, and St. Kitts and Nevis can also feel some impact of heavy winds from a tropical disturbance that's out in the Atlantic. So yes, we'll try to see if we can get somebody from the Met Office to give us some insight in terms of that. But let's jump into the big stories for today. Over the last week, we had the big issue of criminal activities that were on the spate of robberies, more specifically, and several incidents of shooting that occurred. Several spates of criminal activities that occurred in recent days. We saw the issue of robberies. We heard the Good Life supermarket in Sadler's. Then we heard about the two incidents that happened with the supermarket in Camps, and then the one subsequently in Bird Rock. Those incidents had forced the Chamber of Industry and Commerce to put out a statement against that. The uptick in not homicides but robberies. Then we heard during the course of the week that a male was shot or sustained an injury to his ankle after escaping several shots that were fired in his direction while he and a relative were sitting outside their homes. And then this morning, we got a press release, or we got notice that there was another shooting incident, this time in the Fort Lands area. No one died, thankfully, but there was at least one person was injured and was subsequently taken to the hospital for treatment.
People make the world go on.
Then we had Prime Minister Dr. Terence Dew giving some insights in terms of what were the findings of the Development Bank issues, just as his administration is celebrating its 1 year anniversary in office. So yes, those are our big stories that occurred, or those were the big stories that occurred during the course of this week here in St. Kitts and Nevis. So you can call in. Okay, well, we have a caller here. Let's go to the phone lines quickly. Caller, good morning. Well, we lost that caller there, but the caller can call back. Yes, so we had that. The Prime Minister was recently on issues. We have a caller. Caller, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Mr. Abel. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
And I am giving God thanks. Good to be alive. You see how the shooters out.
That's
May the Lord have mercy on our country. You know?
Mm-hmm.
And may our young people and older people choose life, not death. Choose life. When you choose life, you don't go to take life. Now, I want to make a comment on what the Prime Minister said. No, I am not taking it from a political position. I'm taking it from an economic and statistical position. I heard him talking about Social Security and the Development Bank issue. Now, for me, as a professional, a former professional still, I would like to have a breakdown of the number. What impact did the COVID have on it? Because as you recall, remember COVID, the Social Security gave, what do you call them, grants or whatever? You recall that, right?
Yes.
I like to have participation, you know?
Yeah, I was saying
Make
yes,
sure
yes,
you're
yes.
listening.
Yes, there were.
They were giving $1,000, you remember?
Yes.
And then the Development Bank was giving loans to small businesses. I don't mean the 20,000. So what I'm saying, when we are given a lump sum number, it sounds to us, but we must have an impact. What impact? And maybe it is time for the former Prime Minister to answer. You know, I mean, they used to give the numbers. We gave so much Social Security, so we give how much $1 million out to people who were registered. I think they gave three times 1,000, and some of them got maybe less. The government gave, the bank gave. And I am calling on the Prime Minister. The last time he told me he wasn't able to do. When you are coming and calling numbers, remember everybody not equipped to analyze. Because when I hear the different analysis, all I always ask, was there any impact of COVID on the economy, on the government's revenue, on all of the institutions? Is that an unreasonable question?
You're raising a valid point there, Ms. Henry. Actually,
I'm calling upon his advisors who advise him not to answer. And one of them said, you could drop a little thing now and drop it then. That is not how you do business. When you drop it, the uninspired or whatever who don't know, run with it. So I want to know. The same thing, I want to know the breakdown. He hinted that, well, Timothy was the Prime Minister and his brother was the thing. That is not good enough. He has the report, so you don't have to guess.
Well,
How
okay,
much
so
was done for this?
okay,
How
so
much
Miss,
did the bank give?
so Miss
How
Henry,
much?
what? So actually you preempted the audio that I was going to play, but in what he said was that they actually are engaging Deloitte out of Barbados to do an audit, and then he will table that in Parliament. So those findings will be
The audit
made
of
public.
the development bank, he said.
Yes.
Do you recall the one that was done for the SIDF that we have not heard or seen?
The one that was done several years ago.
Yeah, by Unity. They said they hired the best accounting firm, and have you all of them? You notice you know anything about stem cell either? I mean, we gotta stop. We got to stop them from supplying us with piece. We have intelligent people out here. We have young graduates, children in CFBC doing economics and accounting and so. So when we come and drop a number, maybe to me it means different because I used to work on numbers. That was my job. So when I hear 100 million, I mean to me that's nothing. I used to work with bigger numbers than that.
Ms. Henry, let me ask you a question quickly. Would you say or would you push or urge the government, because we have the Labour administration right now, would you urge the government to put legislation in place that when you're doing these audits and investigations, that there must be some time frame that that the findings and whatever it is actually tabled in Parliament?
Yes, and I kept thinking about the Public Accounts Committee.
Yes.
A year has gone now. Has it sat?
That's a good question, Ms. Henry. It has
Abel,
not
you
sat
could
from
bring
my
all the
understanding.
legislation. Have you all had freedom of access to the freedom of information access? No. Everybody come drop a number like people stupid. We want to know because we know that they were giving out money. Social Security gave money, must it twice. When there were people were complaining, oh, they're giving away the money and they're giving away and they're going to break the place. Other places were giving all of these, because you see, it just set the things in which they say, in the context of COVID, which ended last year, 3 years of COVID, then a lot of the analysis changes, you know. Are you aware of that?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, you know, we had a deficit. 3 years of COVID, and the government go and slash all kind of taxes, don't pay this, electricity, the one about, oh, we have this $250 million safety net. Give the context in which it falls. Otherwise, it will be misinterpreted by people who don't know. So I am not saying, telling a lie, you know. All I'm saying, I would like to have a breakdown of these figures, and they must be interpreted in the context of the COVID. Otherwise, we only making joke. We're not even propaganda. We want something new. We have young intellectuals now in the party. Not the old people except Dr. Douglas, and he's an intellectual. We want better information. This is not the old time days when, oh, you know, somebody thief, and then no prosecution or nothing. You know why they don't prosecute anybody? Everybody say, well, in case I do it, you give me a chance. You hear me?
But okay, so that's a point. The question I would want.
You ask me.
Well, but I would. Well, it's a general question that goes out.
Yeah.
there. We keep talking about this whole thing, whether or not findings, whether common administrations go. But which would you prefer? Because if we say we prosecute someone and they're found guilty, we're still not justice. You can argue on one end that justice is served, but does that mean that we can recoup the money to go to benefiting someone, or do we just seek to recoup the money from them?
But you know the thing about proceeds of crime? You know, there's the Proceeds of Crime Act. It doesn't only mean drugs, you know. Are you aware of that?
I know, yes, because I did an interview recently that speaks
There's
to
the
that.
Proceeds of Crime Act. If you thief the government money and went and buy something, then they are free by law to take it back, to seize it. But even sometimes that they don't implement, that might be their friend. You understand? It is the implication or this putting into effect the law. That is what everybody looking out for themselves. In case I do it, or my friend. So they hype up the people, hype them up.
But the thing is, though, right, Miss Henry, and I understand that. I agree. I read parts of the legislation recently. I think that's where white collar crimes and the financial intelligence unit and FSRC and all these people come into play, right? But the question is, though, how do we go about? Because even if you say, let's say you seize Tom Jones's assets, right? How does that, in essence, benefit the ordinary man on the street? Because yes, they're going to be held accountable, right? But at the same time, are we recouping any of the monies? Because do these people have the teeth, the power to necessarily transition those funds that might come out to John Doe's account or that's on hold and put it into the government coffers?
It would go back into the, if you know how the government accounts, you have fees, fines, and forfeiture.
Yes.
You know that line description? If you don't look in the revenue, I used to analyze the government accounts. Yes. Economic analysis, not accounting. There is a line thing called fees, fines, and forfeiture. You know what forfeiture means?
Yeah, continue.
Huh?
Yes.
You could always look it up.
Yes.
That is one of the lines under non-tax revenue, things you pay in the courthouse. So if they forfeit something, government it goes there. So that the thing is already prepared, but I am telling you, because I am saying the next thing. Now they are claiming that they are filing. Are the people on the Integrity Commission free to question any submission or to investigate them? Or do they have to wait until somebody come and question? Because they could file anything.
Ms. Henry, you've raised a valid question because I know, and I suspect, based on my recollection, and that can be bad, I know that there were talks some time back about updating the legislations with the recommendations from that committee in terms of allowing them to commence their work. I don't think anybody in the media actually followed up on it. Again, my recollection.
They're not going to.
Right, because I know
they
have.
You see what happens like in Jamaica? You're from Jamaica or Guyana? You're from Jamaica or Guyana? All right, in Jamaica, they have an NGO that does this kind of work and follow up. I mean, in Trinidad, they heard about somebody, or in Pakistan, the man got something, a gift, and turned around and said it. People here, that's front, and it is known that that's front. And sometimes to get the real information, you need to go down to the Inland Revenue, see when the land was transferred.
Yes, that's true, right?
But to me, we have filed. We have filed. Number one, they should be willing to make it public.
Okay.
Because unless it is made public, nobody knows if it is correct. We could only surmise. Next thing you go and judge and get a lawyer for libel and slander.
But also, Ms. Henry, you have to remember as well.
Then.
Hold on, Ms. Henry, you have to remember as well that based on the legislation that was there, not all of the information that is that was filed will actually be made available to the public. That's one thing that we have to keep in mind.
Is anything at all available to the public other than to hear that they filed?
Well, I'll have to go and review the legislation, but from my understanding, if I remember correctly.
Are there charges if you don't file on time, and if you file incorrect? What are the penalties?
All that's in the legislation. Ms. Henry.
Is it sufficient? I haven't read it. Is it sufficient?
I will try to see if I can pull it up before the show is before the first.
I'm not trying to stress
ended.
you, but you know what I mean. I'm saying I ask them. Other people may think them, but they don't want to say them, because all of them do the same thing, and everybody covering everybody back.
Well, I wouldn't.
Right,
Ms. Henry, I wouldn't necessarily
before I go. Tomorrow will be my departed sister's birthday. Carol is Former Inspector Carol Williams. Her birthday is on the 20th. She's a very good sister to me. God bless her and God bless her children and my children. And all those who have birthdays in August. So you don't relax, but see as much as you can help us. Because I heard the other day, I think it was the World Bank or something, or the CDB, calling upon the journalists to do better, provide more information. The more we have, the more we're able to understand when the politicians talk. Because believe me, for what I know, when they throw a figure, it ain't so it go. All right then.
Okay, you can call back in, Miss Henry. Just I need to go and acknowledge
Yes.
my partners who made the program possible. Yes, so that was our first caller for today. So that was our first caller for today. We're looking at some of the biggest issues, big news, or big topics that made the news for the past week. We try to dive deeper into these particular issues, not looking at it, at least when I'm in the hot seat, not looking at it from the perspective of politics, because we can hear politics day in, day out, but at the end of the day, how is that benefiting the ordinary people? So we'll just go acknowledge our partners who made the program possible, and then we'll come right back with Inside the News here on Win FM.
People make the world go.
50,000?
$50,000? Win big with TDC! Win up to $50,000 cash in the TDC Mega Rewards Mega Raffle! To enter, you must be a Mega Rewards member or sign up to TDC Mega Rewards Loyalty Program. Shop at our TDC retail stores or online at shoptdcgroup.com to receive one entry for every $250 spent. Draws take place from July to November. Win $10,000 every month with your entry rolled over so you can win even more.
Yes, this is 50.
Terms and conditions apply.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
People make the world go round.
And welcome back to Inside the News here on Win FM. Well, we go straight to the phone lines. Caller, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Abel.
Good morning.
Now, we've been hearing for the whole week callers onto most of the radio shows asking for, for justice, for a better word. Now, we heard of the robbery, and we heard that, those illicit characters was apprehended at a particular place. Now, the law is for the lawless, Mr. Abel. And when someone commits crime against the state, we want to see justice. Now, during the week, a particular caller was asking for investigation, so to speak, into the millions that went missing at the development bank, and also lawyer who been marrying off people and all of that. This is why I'm saying the law is for the lawless, and it's not just for criminal activities, because to break the law against the state, we want to see justice. These people who commit these crimes should be brought to justice. Now, Mrs. Henry mentioned, and I've never heard of the Prime Minister said that he was advised not to say. But who are these characters advising? I mean, are we at a low level that what is benefiting to us that someone gonna advise the Prime Minister not to say anything, however they chose those who advise the Prime Minister?
Caller, okay, I think for context, when he was on here, when I had the opportunity to interview him, I asked him specifically about that. He basically said and again, this is not me justifying anything here. And the media again keeps pushing for the information. You know, I asked him about, the actual information, documents, because you're talking about all of these findings since you came into office, but the media and the public has not seen any records. He basically suggested that, listen, yes, but the folks are saying, we should wait until all the information comes in, until we get the complete investigation completed, and then we release the comprehensive information. That's just me paraphrasing some of what he said. So I think just some context to that is what was needed.
Well, in that case, Abel, perhaps then that the whole thing should have looked over before coming on air and saying that, he was advised not to speak, because in a way that would come across like, well, we don't deserve the information, I mean, yes, if you're going to make a statement,
Carla, I wouldn't necessarily say that. I understand what you're saying, but I just don't think that that's what the suggestion is, because just like how Mrs. Henry is asking for the information, just like how you're raising concerns, the media has also been raising concerns, especially since the announcement that, hey, Development Bank, this is what we found when we came into office, that Development Bank was in the red, right? Like how we came in, we saw National Bank was in the red. What we in the media we were pushing for is, hey, can we get actual supporting evidence to corroborate what you're saying? Because we might take a different perspective and find something different within those reports, but that was not necessarily found. So because of that, we've been pushing. But again, he's being advised, listen, we know you want to release this information, but just be cautious in terms of how you're approaching it, because we're still doing our investigations. And like he said, and again, Miss Henry preempted the audio that I was going to play, that we are right now doing an audit. We're engaging Deloitte to do an audit in terms of the findings of the Development Bank, and then we're going to lay those findings before Parliament.
Well, Ms. Abel, I'm going to finish now. I want to get off the air, but I just want to say that these are not the time for us to be slack. I mean, anyone who commits crime against the state should be punished, and, leaders supposed to lead, because as we see today, that the youths are demanding better. And we listened to the Prime Minister when he was campaigning, and we are going to hold, those words that was uttered. We're looking for results. So these are not the time to be slack. And this is touching the whole country on a whole. People who are committing crimes, I mean, a couple of weeks ago, a month ago, when the killing was in its spur, when I heard of OJ and others, I felt so numb. I didn't even know what to do. I felt like I didn't even know how to go. So we need these things to be stemmed. And again, I am saying the law is for the lawless, and let us apply the law. Thank you for hearing me.
All right, thanks, caller. Yeah, so everyone has been weighing in on the topics of what the Prime Minister, the announcement the Prime Minister made in terms of the findings from the investigations so far into the Development Bank and the whole Social Security and all of that. Right, so he's did indicate that they're reaching out auditors to look over their findings, look over what they found, and then they're going to lay that before the Parliament in the coming weeks or months after the audit has been completed. But like I said, the media has for a very long time been calling on the government to release a lot of the findings, documents, evidence to support some of what has been said in terms of what exactly it is that they've been doing since they got into office. It has been over a year, just about a year thereabout, since the government took office, and we've been hearing a number of investigations have been launched, but nothing to support those investigations, and that in and of itself is something that the media would like to see, because adding context to any situation for me is what is very important. I can say X, but add context to it, and I think that's what a bit of what Miss Henry was suggesting a bit earlier. We'll take a quick break, acknowledge our partners, and then we'll come right back with more Inside the News.
Forward, moving with hey, this is the nation with the best customer experience. TDC, you are the one for we. Happy anniversary. Together we succeed, building on strong community, pressing onward to our destiny. One love, one family. Together we succeed. Let the whole world see. Yes, this is 50.
The biggest party in sports is back with the Patriots Party Stand powered by Carib Premium Lager. Come enjoy 3 for $10 Carib and $5 Rockstone while watching the exciting matches. Warner Park Cricket Stadium comes alive from August 23rd to the 27th with the CPL Patriots Party Stand powered by Carib Premium Lager. Tickets available now at all Carib Brewery Drinks Depot in St. Kitts and Nevis and only on match day at the Warner Park Ticket Booth. $40 before game day and $55 on the day of the match. For more information, follow us at Caribbean SKN on Facebook and Instagram. I'll see you there. People make the world go
round. And welcome back to Inside the News. We go straight to the phone lines. Caller, good afternoon. Sorry, good morning, rather.
Yes, good morning to you and your listeners. Greetings in the name of Jesus Christ. He who is the only Savior of his elect chosen sinners from their sins and from hell, and the second person of the eternal Trinity. Now, what I would like to say is that concerning the crimes, to know if anybody, well, is serious with the word when they say they're serious with crimes, is to, one thing that I would like to ask such people is, what is your opinion on Byron Messiah's song, Taliban? If you're for it, and you're defending it, and praising it, and celebrating it, and glorifying it, then you can't be serious with crime, And how could people who defending that song, and songs like it, not just that one alone, but this is the most celebrated song and singer in the Federation. But obviously it ain't just that song alone. Others like it as well. I mean, how could anyone condemn crime, speak out against crime, and yet defending a song and other songs like it as well, and their singers, for singing such, when these songs, including the one in particular I'm speaking of, Taliban's by Byron Messiah, that is glorifying crime, said explicitly in it that we endorse badness, glorifying murdering people, causing mayhem and that sort of stuff, and at the same time condemning crime. How could one be consistent in doing those two things? Could a person hold water and fire in the same hand at the same time? No, it can't happen. And these are songs that are part of the problem. It ain't just the only thing that is causing it, but they are part of the problem. And these songs and entertainment embolden criminals, help to embolden criminals. Because there are other factors as well. But these songs and entertainment help to embolden criminals to do what they're doing, the evil and wickedness that they're doing. And so we got to be consistent. The Bible says, woe unto those who call right wrong and wrong right. And I know people that say, especially where Byron Messiah's Taliban's song is concerned, I know people that say, well, people killing people long before that. Yeah, people killing people long before he was even born. And there have been those songs long before he have even born. But you could also add to a bad situation to make it worse. You could throw fuel on the fire. And that is what he has done with the song Taliban. Not that these things ain't exist before him. They existed long before him. But he has come on the scene and has added to it to make it even worse.
So, Carla, I understand what you're saying, right? And you're saying that that's one part of it. What I want to ask is, what is the church's role in helping to fight crime in St. Kitts and Nevis?
The church their own self need to inform themselves as to what the Bible says. Contrary to what people think, the churches really do not know what the Bible says on these issues. A lot of these churches is more about money.
And why do you say that, Carla? That they don't,
because
that
I've
they
been
don't
around them.
understand
I grew up in them. I've been around them. I've been associated with them. And when you go to church and you're hearing the sermons and the sort of stuff, they're very shallow. They do not go in depth in addressing all the issues of life.
Yeah, but I wouldn't necessarily agree with that assertion of.
Okay, let me ask you a
don't
question.
Understand.
Let me ask you a question. How much sermons have you ever heard addressing economics from the biblical perspective in the church?
Yeah, but that caller does not necessarily mean that's the way it is. Every person or every
that's why
pastor,
you're not hearing it, because that's the way it is.
Yeah, but every pastor has a different approach and a different way of communicating the message that they want to get over to the congregation. Some would seek to address just that, the economic positions of churches, but others would tend to stay away from it because of whatever reasons they may have. So I wouldn't necessarily put it in that manner, but I would prefer, for the churches probably to have a stronger voice, doing more community outreach or so. But that's what I'm asking. And you seem to be somebody who's been integral in the church, as you said. So that's what I'm asking you. What role does the church have or should be playing in this whole issue of crime fighting?
I could tell you what they should be playing, which they are not doing. And what they should be doing, like I said, they need to get informed with what the Bible says concerning all the issues of life. Because a pastor, an elder in the church, a preacher, supposed to be very well informed of what the Bible says concerning all the issues of life, which is not the case, so they start to say. And for example, hanging, executing people. The Bible tells you murderers who has been found guilty upon the testimony of 2 or 3 witnesses supposed to be executed. And guess what? The very church is going against the same Bible and bawling to the government, give them a chance, don't hang them, don't execute them. Okay? This is the kind of nonsense and confusion we have going on in the churches today. For example, stealing. The Bible recommends that when somebody steals, they're supposed to pay twice as much. The church, none of them addressing these issues. None of them addressing the issues, what is the biblical punishment for rape, for stealing, and these sort of stuff. Actually, what they're saying going contrary to the Bible. What they're saying is what the world is saying, what they pick up from the world, not what the Bible is saying.
But again, but hold on, Carla. You're saying that, but you're kind of contradicting what was said previously. When in terms of, so you're basically saying that the churches should be seeking to address the social ills through the use of the Bible, but at the same time, the churches also have a role to play in the sense that they have to be smart, or leaders have to be smart in terms of tackling societal issues. And again, it comes back to, I would say, common sense, in the sense that not because we pay taxes and there's a pothole outside your fence or your yard means that if the Bible says it's the government's responsibility because we pay taxes, that we have to sit and wait for the government to fill the pothole when it's outside my yard. And this is where the common sense aspect of it come in. We can do self-help to tackle this particular issue. So what I'm asking is, and I think this should not necessarily criticize, and I know people might say, I'm probably biased, but the issue, how the churches themselves and the leaders within the church, I'm guess, should be out in the community. Probably, I don't know. Again, everybody has their own approach, but that's what I'm saying. What role specifically, when you look at the whole apparatus perspective from the churches, what role can they play in and actually dealing with the crime problem? I know you're going to say do what the Bible says, but also
Yes.
at least you have to look at some aspect of it from a rational perspective.
Well, nothing is more rational than the Bible. And as a matter of fact, the Bible has the monopoly on rationality and common sense and logic. The Bible has the monopoly on all of those things. What I'm saying, the Bible itself says, do not go beyond what is written in it. And therefore, if we go beyond what is written in it, we are actually sinning and doing what is wrong. Whether we do it under the name of common sense or whatever, once we go beyond what the Bible says, which the Bible says we should not, in 1 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 6, once we go beyond what is in the Bible says we are wrong, we are sinning, and it would be counterproductive in the end. So what I'm saying, the church's role is to show society, hey, we should not go beyond what the Bible says, the Bible commands us, and the Bible has all the answers and all the solutions to our problem. We just say, there's a saying which is wrong, that no person is above the law, which is very wrong. The truth of the matter is no person is above the Bible or the law of God as found in the Bible. No person is above the Bible. And whenever man makes a law and it goes contrary to the Bible, it is automatically and immediately made null and void by the Bible, because nothing is supposed to go against the Bible. Anything that goes against the Bible is sinful and wrong, and it is sinful to obligate somebody to obey whatever that goes against the Bible. So all of such should be repented. So what I'm saying is that the churches that own self, with all due respect, the ministers ought to be qualified according to the Bible, which at least 99% of them are not. A lot of people go into ministry and that sort of stuff because people tell them they should be ministers, or they go seminaries or something like that, but they do not have the biblical qualification to be such. Right. And that is killing the churches. Right. Hello?
Yeah. Thanks, caller.
Yeah. So just before I go quickly, say, people, we ought not to call wrong right and right wrong, and nobody cannot consistently condemn crime and that sort of stuff, and I see them be defending and praising and awarding and so on. Such songs as Taliban by Byron Masai and the others like it. We need to get our bearings right where the Bible is concerned and be obedient to the Bible and do what the Bible says. What the Bible condemns, we ought to condemn. What the Bible praise, we ought to praise, and nothing beyond the Bible. Thank you.
All right. I have to say this. I do not.
The government devaluates when there is a lack of trust and credibility. With very low reserves and outside of an integral plan, this exacerbates uncertainty and it won't have a real impact on the economy. So the devaluation translates into more inflation.
And people in Argentina are finding ways to be financially creative until the end of the month. Luis Adrián Pereira says the last week has been impossible.
I am angry because those who are governing are now leaving and all the prices are going up. I had to buy cream for my foot and it was 800 pesos. Now it's 1400 just in a few days.
Frustration, anger and despair are everywhere as the country gets ready to elect a new president in 2 months. Many are desperate for solutions that will give them some sort of stability back. Al Jazeera, Buenos Aires.
Still ahead on Al Jazeera, in sport, co-host Australia miss out on a third place finish at the FIFA Women's World Cup. Details coming up.
journalists to bring out digging things more.
With more than 1.4 billion people, India is now the world's most populous country. Millions of young people across the country are unemployed and unable to imagine a meaningful future. These students will take any job they can find. But getting a job seems like a distant dream.
We will all agree that
education alone isn't enough to solve Bihar's other demographic challenges. Authorities are struggling to persuade couples to use contraceptives. Many women only opt for sterilization after having large families. Angela Begum and her husband Planu have 10 daughters and 1 son. None of the children have been educated beyond 5th grade. The race is on to avert a demographic disaster. How the country fares will determine the lives of future generations.
I believe this morning we had a conversation with I know that journalists is trying their best, and it leads to people who are in authoritative positions to disseminate information as they are. I know, Yeah, we wanted to say that.
Scientists in Bangladesh have found tiny pieces of plastic in frogs and fish. The discovery has widespread implications for disease control and farmers. Tara Chowdhury has more.
We noticed that
Bangladesh was once a major exporter of wild frogs for fine dining restaurants in Europe and the US. But shipments were banned in 1989 due to rapid decline of frog population as well as an increase in farmland pests such as mosquitoes. Now Bangladeshi frogs are facing a different kind of threat, this time from plastic poisoning. A new study by the International Union of Conservation of Nature says 15 out of 47 species of frogs here are under threat.
Many of our frog species are already on the brink of extinction. Plastic and microplastic pollution are emerging issues. You can see how people are dependent on it on a daily basis. This has become a plastic era.
Administration changes.
Professor Tariq's university also discovered microplastics in 83% of fish it studied.
We have even discovered microplastic in the muscles of various fish. That is the edible parts, which means we are already consuming microplastic through the food chain.
In another study, scientists found an abundance of pollutants in surface water and underlying sediments of lakes and rivers in the capital, Dhaka.
We hardly get fish nowadays. It's because of the various pollution in rivers and canals. Due to pollution, fishes don't breed as they used to. They are not able to survive anymore in these polluted waters.
Experts say frogs have a vital role in controlling mosquitoes that carry diseases such as malaria. Cases of dengue fever have risen alarmingly here in recent years. Researchers involved in the study say the high-level presence of microplastic in frogs poses a potential threat to biodiversity and crop production in Bangladesh. Scientists say that the rise in disposable plastic usage is creating a pressing challenge for food safety, as microplastic accumulating in the marine food chain. Tanvi Chaudhary, Al Jazeera, Dhaka.
It's time for the sport, and here's Farah.
Rob, thank you so much. Sweden have won the third-place playoff at the FIFA Women's World Cup. They beat co-host Australia 2-0 in Brisbane. Disappointment for the majority of fans in the stadium who were hoping to see Australia finish the tournament with a win. Sweden took the lead from the penalty spot. Kosovari Asllani added a superb second after the break. It's fourth time Sweden have won the bronze medal. Head of World Football, Gianni Infantino, says this has been the best Women's World Cup in history.
On the top of it, and then the
teams from
120 million
6 continents have won games. Teams from 5 continents have progressed to the knockout phase. Some of the heavyweights have been eliminated quickly. The 4 semi-finalists are new potential winners of the World Cup. So, I mean, full stadiums
import duty
everywhere,
for 6 months, etc.
2 billion people on TV, 2 million here in the stadium.
Well, the main event is taking place in Sydney on Sunday. That's where England will take on Spain in the final. Our reporter Alex Thomas is there for us.
I guess we lost that caller there.
The ultimate prize is in sight
yes,
for England and Spain as each team seeks to win its first Women's World Cup trophy. Expect more passion and excitement with 75,000 people at the game here in Sydney and millions more watching around the world.
Obviously, this is the biggest game, the one that you dream about, the one that means the most, but I feel like it will hit when we're in the tunnel and we're ready to walk out. And yeah, I think it's an incredible occasion. It's been an unbelievable tournament.
Both teams are
$50,000?
$50,000?
Win big with TDC! Win up to $50,000 cash in the TDC Mega Rewards Mega Raffle! To enter, you must be a Mega Rewards member or sign up to TDC Mega Rewards Loyalty Program. Shop at our TDC retail stores or online at shoptdcgroup.com to receive one entry for every $250 spent. Draws take place from July to November. Win $10,000 every month with your entry rolled over so you can win even more.
We know that they have a really
Terms
good
and conditions
team
apply.
and they've been doing good.
Maybe
so
it's the way
I think it's going to be a really good game.
Reflects
the finalists are evenly matched,
or how the bright
but perhaps
blue of
the
its
ace
label
up England's
mirrors the
sleeve is their
clear
coach
Caribbean
Serena
skies
Wiegman.
overhead.
This will be her
Maybe
fourth
it's the
successive
fresh,
major
crisp
final
taste of
after
this
guiding the
beastly
Netherlands to
cold beer
European
on a
Championship
scorching
victory
hot
in
day.
2017
Maybe it's even
and
the
then a
way
World
it
Cup
brings us
runners-up
all
spot
together.
before
But
winning
one thing
Euros
is for
2022
sure,
with England.
Carib is very
Not
much a
since the
part of
inaugural
who we
event in
are,
1991
wherever we're from
has the
in
Women's
the
World Cup
Caribbean.
had two
Carib.
first-time finalists.
It's the
This will be
way
the third all-European
Drink
final,
responsibly.
but the first world champion from that continent since 2007.
Welcome back. I must apologize for those who are having a little technical glitch there. I have to apologize for that. So we'll shortly break for the headline news, just about 1 minute or so. So yeah, so we're just recapping some of the big stories. We're trying to go beyond the political realm of what exactly these stories are. What do they mean for the ordinary man here in St. Kitts and Nevis? We talk about local, regional, and international stories. We heard from the Prime Minister, who was on Freedom FM recently. He gave some of the. I'm going to give an update in terms of some of the findings from their investigations. But yes, and he indicated that based on what they've found so far, they're engaging an auditor, and I can play that audio for you when we come back from the midday news. But yes, so we heard from him. We heard that from him. He said the bank did not meet its obligation in terms of the repayment of the $600,000 that was agreed as part of the repayment on a monthly basis. So they've had to chip in and assist the bank in terms of dealing with that specifically. Then you have the issue of the spate of robberies that we saw over the weekend around St. Kitts and Nevis. And then you have the issue where 5 people were taken into custody and are being questioned at this point in time. We have not had any more word that came out yesterday that the police took 5 people into custody surrounding the robbery of one of the supermarkets over last weekend. And then this morning as well, we heard that there was another shooting incident, but one person has been injured in that. There were no fatalities. But we will continue with the discussions on the other side of the break from the midday news, and then we will continue. In the meantime, stay tuned to WINNFM, and the midday news is straight ahead.
You found the sound. 98.9. Win FM.
We now bring you the headline news. The headline news is brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, KDP Enterprises, The Grange, and Carib Brewery.
With over a century of perfection behind the Mackeson name, a smooth blend with perfect balance and richness. It's no wonder Mackeson Triple Stout has a legacy of perfection. Enjoyed the world over. Introducing our new look with the same great taste. Mackeson. All hail the king. Please drink responsibly.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world, whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous. You can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air, we get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises at 466-9595.
With the WINNFM Midday News, I am Kevon Brown. Our top stories: police investigating non-fatal shooting, 1 person injured. Irishtown Primary School to reopen at start of 2023-2024 school year. Disappointed with failed climate commitments, says CARICOM Chair Roosevelt Skerritt. The government of St. Lucia has set a plan of action in motion to counter the scourge of crime through state-funded crime and violence interruption project. Internationally, 111 people are confirmed to have died, with another 1,000 still missing after last week's wildfire on the Hawaiian island of Maui. Now the details. The police have informed the media of an ongoing investigation of a non-fatal shooting. The incident occurred just after 5 a.m. on August 19th in the Fort Lands area, Basseterre, St. Kitts. 1 person was injured. More details as information becomes available. Following the tragic shooting of Dahlia Handley at the Irishtown Primary School on February 14, 2023, the school was closed. The students of the institution were still able to receive instruction in other facilities in the community. The government took the chance during the closure to do some remedial work on the infrastructure of the school. Since the closure of the school, the general public has been asking about when the original campus would be reopened for use by the students, faculty, and staff. In an update on the Irishtown Primary School, which is expected to be in full swing when the 2023-2024 school year begins on September 4th, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Education, the Honourable Dr. Jeffrey Hanley, had this to say.
Well, the nation would remember the tragic death of one of our security officers on the Irishtown Primary School campus, happened to be a cousin of mine. And as a result, we had to relocate our students, and we decided that we will do some work on that school. Some of the work should have already been done over these many years, but might have been neglected for whatever reasons. And the Ministry of Education was very proactive in ensuring that this is an opportunity for us to present what another safe school can look like. And we set out to do that with a number of stakeholders.
Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Lisa Pistana, shared some of the work that has been done at the school, which included some work to help with the security of the campus.
We identified as a ministry the areas that needed immediate work. One of them was the enclosures at the very front of the building, so we put in enclosures so that persons just can't walk right onto the compound because we have our children playing in that particular area from time to time. We also relocated the principal's office. Before, you would have to walk all the way into the school to almost the back of the school to get to the principal's office. So that is one of the first spaces that you meet. So we relocated it, refurbished the space, and we're just doing the final little touches to it now. There were some roofing issues. We are addressing that this week. The top level of the school, the classrooms at the top level had some sagging floors, so we've braced those floors. The contractor has completed it, tidied up this space. We have left the perimeter walls to go in, well fenced, because it's going to be, we have one wall that's already in. We did the retaining, a retaining wall in the top section because that we were experiencing soil erosion and it was sort of not undermining the building, but the soil from there was being washed away, so we had to put in a retaining wall, backfill, and now that is completed. We also added additional security systems so as to make sure that students and our teachers and whatnot remain safe while they are on the campus. So those are just a few of the things that we would have accomplished. And like I said, we have one or two things to complete, but they're going to be completed before school starts, and we're going to open up in spot September 4th.
Pistana also shared some of the plans for the school as making it a primary school of linguistics, even on signs at the school.
We have a lot in store for this institution come September. I think the minister has made no secret it's going to become the School of Linguistics. We have a large Spanish-speaking community within the Irishtown area, and we feel that those persons need to be properly serviced. And outside of that, we need to make sure that we are, as I've said before, forward-thinking. We are a tourism-based, or have a tourism-based industry. We're service-oriented, where persons are coming in from many different countries, and therefore our natives must have an opportunity to vie for some of those jobs that will be created because of that, and hence they must have an appreciation for modern languages. And so that is something that we are in space and ready to do come September.
The Education Permanent Secretary issued a call to action to the people in the neighbouring community that they would be called upon to help put the finishing touches to make sure the doors are opened on September 4th when the school year begins. In regional news, disappointed with failed climate commitments, says CARICOM Chair Roosevelt Skerritt. CARIB Update reports.
CARICOM Chairman Dominica's Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerritt has lamented the failure of developed countries to deliver on promises made on the issue of climate change. He made the comment in Roseau on Monday.
The reality is the developed world, they give beautiful sounding speeches. They express empathy to us, but the things that they need to honor, they failing to honor them.
Well, Skerritt said nothing agreed at the latest climate change conferences has been delivered.
First of all, we speak about the Paris Agreement, which was signed in 2015. Okay. Nothing that we've agreed in this Paris Agreement has come to reality. Nothing.
Another climate change conference will be held in Dubai later this year, but Skerritt said there needs to be movement on previous commitments.
We're calling on the international community to fulfill its commitment to us. And so I was in Barbados last week, where we held a meeting with the incoming president of COP28, the Conference of the Parties, that will be held in Dubai in December. And one of the matters which we placed at the feet of the incoming president of COP28, Sultan Al-Jaber of the UAE, is to get the developed world to fulfill their obligation of making $100 billion a bill.
The government of St. Lucia has set a plan of action in motion to counter the scourge of crime through state-funded crime and violence interruption project. HDS News Force has that story.
So many young lives lost to violence, so many families left with unanswered questions, grieving over their slain loved one. The battle to get crime under control continues as the Ministry of Equity launched the Crime and Violence Interruption Project on Friday, 18th August 2023.
This program is funded to the sum of $150,000, which is coming from the government of St. Lucia, and EC dollars. Wish it were US, but it is EC dollars. So I'd like to say thank you to our Permanent Secretary and Minister of Responsibility for Equity for advocating for the investment of some funding to help build our families, our young people, and communities. So the program comprises of 3 components. The first component is known as the Basic Life and Employability Program and Internship. This component has actually started. It commenced on the 8th of August, and it is going to end on the 20th of October.
Equity Minister Joachim Henry has called for peace to prevail, turning a mirror on society and the downward path it is seemingly headed, with the glorification and oversharing of violence on social media. Henry has called for an end to the promotion of violence online, as he believes all forms of intervention can help curb the social problem. 2 special donors also came on board to provide relief to deserving parents for school students.
Therefore, our effort in serving humanity lies in our small contribution that becomes great, because the sum total of everything we do is what will contribute to a new environment, a new society, a better tomorrow.
And we're here to donate to the Ministry of Equity in the best interest of 20 recipients of $10,000, which would go towards food and school supplies. And we do hope that it will help at least a little bit, if not a lot, for the new semester that's coming up. Because I myself, just like maybe a few of us in here, we know for a fact when you get up in the morning and you go to school on an empty stomach, and you go without the right tools for you to educate yourself and to receive proper education from whoever it is that's in the front trying to get you to learn something. So hopefully just this little donation would do a great lot for a few parents.
The donors expressed the desire for the charitable gift to be a yearly endeavor on their part. Head of the Community Development Social Transformation Unit, Kendall Elver, says the CVIP will look to provide young people with profound life skills to navigate the world of work and become young professionals.
The other component is a parenting program, and this program will commence on the 6th of November and end on December 13th. We are targeting 40 parents in our 11 STO regions, and the aim of this particular component is to enhance the parenting skills of individuals to ensure that they could provide children with the right guidance and structure to effect they being able to become citizens who are ambitious and industrious. We recognize that a number of parents do struggle in terms of having that kind of influence on our children, and in response to that, we believe that there is a need to increase the capacity of our parents.
The third component of the CVIP project to be implemented island-wide will be a youth mentorship program to steer young people away from gangs and antisocial behavior.
We now bring you these international reports.
111 people have died and more than 1,000 remain missing following the devastating wildfires in Hawaii. Thousands of homes and businesses have been destroyed in Maui, amongst them the world-famous restaurant and music venue Fleetwood's, owned by the musician Mick Fleetwood. Our correspondent Sophie Long has been talking to some of the employees who are now raising money for the relief effort.
Calculating the human cost of this tragedy could take many months. So much was lost here.
Man, Lahaina is, it was the capital before it was Honolulu, you know? The kings and queens used to live in Lahaina. It was a sacred place.
Lahaina town and the community of Lahaina epitomizes like culture of the Hawaiian story. It's a crazy, vibrant town that actually was alive and wasn't just a tourist attraction. All the surroundings of that town was a real community that lived and breathed way before creatures like me even knew about this island.
So many buildings burned, but one had a special place in the hearts of locals and of people around the world, who all flocked to Fleetwood's on Front Street. It may have been owned by a non-native who happened to be a rock star, but it had Hawaiian culture at its heart.
It was my job, it was my responsibility to just keep the Hawaiian culture there. That was one of the first things that I feel like Mick wanted to do. Since opening, he wanted to always have a Hawaiian presence there.
Kately is our kumu, so he would do an oli, a chant in Hawaiian, and talk about the connections of the Hawaiian Islands from the Hawaiian perspective. And then I had the blessing of being able to do so, not just playing the bagpipes, but kind of as a bard to share the amazing connections between the UK and these Hawaiian Islands. You know, people come and they look at the Hawaiian flag and they say, oh, why is the Union Jack in it? And then they go on with their holiday, they don't think about it. But it's not, this is the only place in the world where the Union Jack flies and was never officially a British territory.
All those who worked at Fleetwood's, more than 120 of them, have now been accounted for, but many of them have lost everything. They've all lost their jobs and a place they called home.
For a lot of people working there, it wasn't just a job, it was a second home, you know.
What would you miss most about Fleetwood's?
Everything, from the smell of the wood to the sun on my back, standing there with the eight yards of wool, the sound of the crowd, the interaction, the smiles between people that know each other extremely well as a family. The whole place, it really was magic.
Lahaina town has gone, but the culture has not gone. It, in fact, is being reminded about how important it is. What it will be, I don't know, but it has to have a sense of history to it, have a hallowed vibration, a hallowed tribute to what happened there.
People here are overwhelmed by grief, and the journey towards healing will be slow. But they hold on to hope and the breathtaking beauty that remains. Sophie Long, BBC News, Maui.
If I seem like I'm happy, it's because I am. This has been a great, great meeting.
That cheerfulness from U.S. President Joe Biden came after he and the leaders of South Korea and Japan agreed to deepen military and economic ties. And the countries made their strongest joint condemnation yet of aggressive behavior by China in the South China Sea. The new commitments were formed Friday at Camp David, the Maryland presidential retreat.
Today, we've made history with the first ever standalone summit between the leaders of our three countries, as well as our commitment to meet together on the leader level annually.
At a joint news conference, Biden, along with South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol and Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida, committed to consult promptly with each other during crises and to coordinate responses.
We're doubling down on information sharing, including on the DPRK's missile launches and cyber activities, strengthening our ballistic missile defense cooperation, and critically, we've all committed to swiftly consult with each other in response to threats to any one of our countries from whatever source it occurs.
While the political commitments fall short of a formal three-way alliance, they represent a bold move for Seoul and Tokyo, which have lingering baggage stemming from Japan's harsh 1910 to 1945 colonial rule of Korea. But on Friday, it was handshakes and smiles. The leaders' language on China stood out as stronger than expected. A joint statement read, quote, regarding the dangerous and aggressive behavior supporting unlawful maritime claims that we have recently witnessed by the People's Republic of China in the South China Sea, we strongly oppose any unilateral attempts to change the status quo in the waters of the Indo-Pacific. Without mentioning China by name, Kishida had this to say.
The unilateral attempts to change the status quo by force in the East and South China Seas are continuing, and the nuclear and missile threats of North Korea is only becoming ever larger under such circumstances.
Not to say we don't share concerns about the economic coercion or heightened tensions caused by China, but this summit was really about our relationship with each other.
Beijing has warned that U.S. efforts to strengthen ties with South Korea and Japan could increase tension and confrontation in the region.
West Africa's regional bloc ECOWAS on Friday said it had agreed to an undisclosed D-Day for possible military intervention to restore democracy in Niger if diplomatic efforts fail. The news came at the end of a two-day meeting between West African Army chiefs in Ghana's Accra, where strategies around a possible use of force in Niger were discussed. ECOWAS has said such action would be a last resort. Abdul Fatwa Musa is the ECOWAS Commissioner for Political Affairs, Peace and Security.
All member states of ECOWAS present here today have all committed elements. They have committed their own equipment. They have committed their own resources to undertake this mission. So I tell you, we are ready to go anytime the order is given. The D-Day is also decided.
Musa said a peaceful resolution remained the preferred option, but stressed that the bloc would not engage in endless dialogue with the junta. ECOWAS has taken a harder stance on the Niger coup than in previous ones. It's the wider region's 7th in 3 years, and the credibility of the bloc is at stake as it had said it would not tolerate any further overthrows.
We want to get back to constitutional normalcy, and the decision is that the coup in Niger is one coup too many, for the region, and we are putting a stop to it at this time. We are drawing the line in the sand, and that is it.
Military officers removed Niger President Mohamed Bazoum 3 weeks ago and have defied calls from the United Nations, ECOWAS, and other groups to reinstate him. Any kind of intervention could mean further turmoil for West Africa's impoverished Sahel region, which is already battling a decade-old Islamist insurgency and a deepening hunger crisis.
U.S. stocks ended Friday little changed as gains in defensive sectors and energy offset weakness in mega-cap growth stocks, while investors looked toward next week's speech by Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell. The Dow gained fractionally, the S&P 500 finished roughly flat, and the Nasdaq fell 0.2%. U.S. Bank Wealth Management head of Public Markets Group Lisa Erickson said she sees a recalibration going on in the market.
Essentially, you've had a period year to date where investors have generally been on the positive sentiment side, really reacting to the fact that inflation is coming down, that for the most part, economic data has been better than expected, and with hopes that the Fed is going to at least pause, if not pivot, somewhere here in the next few months. But really, as I think reality has begun to impact investors more to a greater degree, they have priced those expectations down to some degree, just recognizing that we still have some path left in the progress to get to a 2% inflation target, and the Fed has not pivoted yet.
Powell addresses the annual Jackson Hole Economic Symposium Friday, August 25th. Stock movers included Estee Lauder, which dropped 3% after cutting its annual sales and profit forecast, in part due to weaker demand in Asia. And shares of Coinbase Global slid 3%, as a 2-month low in the price of Bitcoin hit the cryptocurrency exchange.
You were listening to the Midday News on WINNFM 98.9. The headlines: Police investigating non-fatal shooting, 1 person injured. Irishtown Primary School to reopen at start of 2023-2024 school year. Disappointed with failed climate commitments, says CARICOM Chair Roosevelt Skerritt. The government of St. Lucia has set a plan of action in motion to counter the scourge of crime through state-funded crime and violence interruption project. Internationally, 111 people are confirmed to have died, with another 1,000 still missing after last week's wildfire on the Hawaiian island of Maui. Thank you for listening.
That was the WINNFM Headline News. The Headline News was brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, KDP Enterprises, The Grange, and Carib Brewery.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world, whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous. You can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air, we get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises at 466-9595.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine,
or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
When it comes to the important things in life, your health, your education, your choice of a life partner, and of course your insurance provider, only the best will do. Caribbean Alliance Insurance is the only insurance company in the Eastern Caribbean with an A excellent rating. We have a robust 3-tier reinsurance strategy that protects our policyholders from multiple catastrophes, even if they occur in quick succession. We spread our risks over 18 territories, ensuring minimal impact to individual territories when a disaster strikes. We provide an excellent claims experience. Claim settlement is usually between 24 to 48 hours. Our A excellent rating means that you are more secure with us. Contact us for motor, property, marine, public liability, employer's liability, and other policies. Dalil Walwyn, people you can trust. Local agent for Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Tomorrow secured.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is WIN FM.
People make the world go
Party in Sports is back with the Patriots Party Stand powered by Carib Premium Lager. Come enjoy 3 for $10 Carib and $5 Rockstone while watching the exciting matches. Warner Park Cricket Stadium comes alive from August 23rd to the 27th with the CPL Patriots Party Stand powered by Carib Premium Lager. Tickets available now at all Carib Brewery Drinks Depot in St. Kitts and Nevis and only on match day at the Warner Park Ticket Booth. $40 before game day and $55 on the day of the match. For more information, follow us at Caribbean SKN on Facebook and Instagram. I'll see you there.
If you need protection, you need one who you can trust. To secure your investment, you need one who'll do you just. TDC Insurance, you're the one that you can trust. TDC Insurance, you're always safe with us.
TDC Insurance is your go-to insurance company for all your insurance needs. We take pride in offering you the best solutions and ensuring our customers are fully satisfied. TDC Insurance, we take good care of you, guaranteeing you peace of mind.
You're always safe with us.
People make the world go
Welcome back to Inside the News here on WIN FM. I'm Jeremy Abel sitting in today and we're discussing the recent spate of criminal activities that we saw. You know, we had the robbery of Yes, sorry about that. We had a spate of robberies in St. Kitts and Nevis against supermarkets, and then we had some shooting incidents here in St. Kitts, right, including one this morning that left one injured, or one male nursing injuries. That one occurred sometime after 5 today. So we're speaking about that, and and the Prime Minister recently spoke about his 1-year anniversary, and the government's 1-year anniversary, and he's been sharing some of the findings as he has been doing since he took office, and he basically indicated that an audit will be done specifically surrounding Social Security and the Development Bank issue there. But this is the second part of the program. We'll, look at crime, and we'll hear a bit from commentator Dwight Astafan, attorney at law, a bit of what he said in his commentary on what has been transpiring. I mean, he made some comments, that some might find a little bit harsh, but it's his perspective in terms of how to deal with the issues of crime and violence that we've been seeing here in St. Kitts and Nevis. As we know, police took 5 people into custody recently in connection with a major heist, a major robbery, and those people are said to be in police custody, quote unquote, assisting the police with their investigations into the matter. So we'll hear a bit from Mr. Astafan surrounding how he believes police should handle this issue, and especially repeat offenders and those who've been using guns in terms of homicides and all of that. But yes, so while I'm here in the hot seat, we tend to look at the topics, the news. We try to go beyond just the headlines, try to rationalize it, see how it makes sense, how it affects everyone, which we're not dealing with politics, slander, defamation. All we're doing here is we're seeking to get the news and get people to understand how the news of the week will impact them, and they'll get to understand, the direction in which St. Kitts and Nevis is going. It's not necessarily, I don't subscribe for us to, dive into politics in the news. Leave the politics to the politicians, right? Let us get to understanding how the specific topic at hand is going to impact you here in St. Kitts and Nevis, right? Whether it be locally, regionally, or international. Once those big stories hit the media, that's what we're looking at here. We try to go beyond the headlines. And we'll go back to the phone lines and hear from this caller. Caller, good morning. Good afternoon, rather.
Yeah, good afternoon. Sorry. Let me turn on my radio. Yes, Mr. Moderator. I'm sorry about that.
Uh-huh.
Are you there?
I'm listening to you, yes.
Okay, yes. I was waiting for you to play the clip with Dwyer, because I 100% in agreement with Dwyer, with the punishment that Dwyer said should these perpetrators who went and do this robbery. I agree with him, because I've been saying that for many years. When you find people do these kind of criminal activities, not because, let me look at the 2 Rams places where they were on the weekend. Not because no one was shot and blood was shed, but the traumatization where they put in those people who was around lives. They will be traumatized until they go down in the grave. Doesn't matter how many pillows they put the head under when they go lie down. That traumatization. It is not easy. Somebody come and hold you up with a gun pointing in front of your feet. You don't know when they're going to pull the trigger. So that there is just as harsh as anybody would say that Dwyer words are harsh. And Dwyer words should be more harsh than that. And my thing for them, let us say I harsh too, and I'm a cannibal. Those who commit that crime, if they are right-handed, eliminate the right hand. If they are left-handed, eliminate the left hand. Because what they have done, they traumatized the whole Federation of St. Kitts Nevis. And even people who are not living here, when they hear what happened, imagine that. And when you got to look on Facebook, I mean, your Facebook, you see the amount of money that those people thief from those two business places. And I'm saying this to you know. Other people get money from what the thief, you know. Other people been depending on those people to give them what they thief.
But Carla,
because you're gonna tell me they all have guardians or whatsoever, whether they're dead or alive. If they're alive, they're gonna where you sleep, where you live, who you live with, where you doing? They're gonna say, look, I hear and I hear. So take this, you hold that. All that is possible from those camps.
Carla,
People hush. Go ahead.
Carla, I want to ask you a question. I want to go beyond, this whole talk because let us dive a bit deeper. What do you specifically believe is the actual issue that is forcing this? Because outside of what transpired over the weekend, we've been seeing a number of smaller enterprises or establishments also being facing the similar issue, right?
Yeah.
What do you think is the underlying problem here? Because it's one thing for us to say one establishment.
Wait, hold on this. Let me tell you this. More the word underline. Ask me what I think causing this. That's what you meant?
Basically.
Okay. Because I want to speak for the man down on the ground. Let me start here. Number one, laziness. Number two, they don't have any ambition. And number three, they do not care. That is three. And if there was any penalty, so-called hash penalty, for people who do those things, they would not have done them. Those are my reasons for them doing that. Because when you look at it, all of us who were small, some of us had life hard. My mother used to work for $3 a week, and she had 9 children to support. $3 a week, one Saturday. The house that from CHA that she built was $2 a week payment. So the Saturday, when she get $1, one of she neighbors say, "Fan, you get $1." Can you imagine a mother without fathers in the house with 9 children with $1 a week? Well, we could have got thief too to make up that, but no, we wasn't brought up that way, and we had discipline, and we obeyed our parents. She said, "Eat what you have, make what you have, do." But these people here, they want the sky, and they do not have no rocket to take them up to the sky. They're just watching people and grudging people. They do not have no right to do that. And just like what Greg said, I agree with Greg, the caller before the last one, because how on one side of your mouth you going to promote people who say they're singing violence and all this kind of thing? You're going to promote that, and then the other side of your job, you're going to condemn them by punishing them. You advertise it. Why you advertise it, what people going to come and buy? And let me touch up something here now. I'm going to go now. Politicians make the government, and they themselves make the administration. Administration go, and administration come. And most times, some of them who come after who gone, they try to make the one who gone look bad by saying all kind of lies and derogative things about them. We all remember what happened in 1995 when the Labour administration went into office. There was a lot of accusation upon the PAM administration. Every day they had the load of what they call soap opera on the TV and the radio. And what come out of that? Nothing. But the lawyers them who had to come here and go back, they build big house out of taxpayers' money. So when we hear politicians who gone in after who those were there saying a lot of things, we got to listen to them. And all we got to say, put the facts out there that we could see them and hear them. Put them out there. Because if you look at it, how in the world, the one who leading this administration presently now in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, as soon as they get into office, the first thing he declare, oh, the country financially in red. In red. Well, if things in red, that means no money there to spend. But how come he could take up 15 of them and carry them to New York, to United Nations? 15 of them, 14 Kittitian and 1 Chinese, and the country in red. Where the money come from to pay them their ticket? So you see, that is a lie. So when you hear certain politicians talking, listen them closely. Closely, they must stop tell lie. Everybody must stop tell lie. Done with that. Don't tell no lie. I go in, but anybody tell a lie on me, I prefer give them a baseball bat, let them go knock a home run. Go play baseball with the bat. And I would rather somebody who are Kokobe and Tibi to spit in my face than for them to tell a lie on me. They could tell me a lie, but don't tell a lie on me. Thank you,
caller.
Mr. Moderator.
Thanks, caller. That call's basically underscoring that, we need to be more mindful of the children and the young people that we have in society, in terms of dealing with the issue or the scourge of violence, both gun violence, armed robberies, and all of that here in St. Kitts and Nevis. Again, the problem is not Mr. Abel's problem or one person's problem. It's all of us, and we have to find a way in which to handle the current situation. And I think it's an all-hands-on-deck approach in terms of dealing with the violence that we're seeing in St. Kitts and Nevis. Caller, good afternoon.
Hey, good afternoon, me again. Hope you had a good lunch.
Not yet.
Have you
Hello?
Hello?
Yes.
Oh, God, I didn't hear you. Now, the question with the crime and Mr. Dwyer Astaban's comments. I don't know if he has a change of heart. He is a lawyer by training, eh? So he knows what penalties carry the death sentence. Part of the truth is the police. It depends on the police, When you have very poor detection rates, they almost sure they can get away. Have you thought about that? Can you hear me?
I'm listening to you, right, Miss Henry. I don't know if you would recall, but just let me say this.
The detection rate is very, very low.
Hold on, Miss Henry. What I was saying, the point I was about to make is, the police and the media have, from time to time at various press conferences, even on, I guess, call-in programs as well, our definition and their definition of detection, sometimes we come to loggerheads over it because, and I can say this because I think earlier this year in one of the press conferences, it kind of raised a lot of questions again, their definition of detection. So I think I wouldn't tend to use the term detection rate.
What is it? Excuse me. What is the?
Well, I would say
the last one you heard.
Okay, I can't remember exactly. I don't want to mislead, but what I'm saying is, I would say successful conviction rate would be much better than saying detection rate. I know my friends over at the police force are going to criticize me for saying that, but
look, we're dealing with data, right? And it is their data, It's not you make it up. The journalists, they give it. Nevis usually have a higher one. Now they say it is based on the poor response from the community, which I believe is true. But they have other ways of getting the information. So if you think people do think they're going to get away with, that's one. The other one to me is the poor security services at most establishments. People living by hope. I hope they don't come. You understand?
But Ms. Henry, I understand what you're saying, but in societies, right, I personally wouldn't want to have to be walking down a street and all businesses on the streets, on that particular street, has a lot of bars, in terms of burglar bars and all of that. I want to be in a society where, and I guess everybody wants to
said
feel
already,
confident.
The security guards.
Yeah, but at the
look,
same point.
I lived in Jamaica, they armed, and look, some of them armed with M16.
Yeah,
but so that you must know it. You must know that when you're coming with your gun, you better make sure you have a good one.
Yeah, but I
think, and people
right,
feel more secure because they say, look, well, at least something will happen by the door.
Yeah, but
when you have somebody standing up by the door, swinging their two hands. Then him got a little back. Nothing to deter.
Yeah, but Miss
I mean,
Henry,
we got to think like we're in a modern life.
yeah, but also I think people want a sense of security in terms of you being able to walk down the street at 2 o'clock in the morning and still feel a sense of being secure that nothing is going to happen. I know people will say, "Oh, that's a fairy tale environment in 2023 that you're talking about," because you really find places that you can do that. But that's a sense of security. Both
Yeah,
individuals
everybody will
and
want to.
business
But
want.
let me get to the gang itself. If you go back to the story, and I don't understand Mr. Astapan, because when he was minister, he was quite thing of the people who were in gangs. He was trying to help them, eh? I mean, at one time, he accused the police of harassing the people in his constituency who left and were all over the place smoking and whatever, and they were all into all kind of things. And he complained that the police was harassing his people. Now, they have been robbing people other places. So, because they rob Rams, what about all the Chinese they rob in the street?
Yeah, but
And there was a robbery in St. Peter's. I think it was a Friday, right?
The same day. But I understand. I understand what you're saying, right?
A man himself was robbed.
Yeah, but I understand what you're saying, right, Miss Henry.
So I want you to understand good.
But
There's
this
no
is the
excuse
thing,
for
right, Miss
anybody.
Henry? This is the thing.
If they rob you on your way home from the radio station, it's robbery.
Yes, but what I'm saying, right, Miss Henry, is, yes, some people may have made comments previously. I don't know what Asafan's comments were.
But it's
previously,
they robbing the Chinese and frequently.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, we as a society have to take a different approach in terms of supporting each other in fighting an issue that is prevalent right now. Nobody expected any of this to happen. Let's be frank, whether or not it's a big establishment or a small establishment. But we now have to find avenues in which to deal with the problem.
The security guard. We want to from that one.
No. I'm not running from it. Right. The point I was making before. Right, Miss
So when you come in, you must know, look, I either got to shoot my way in or shoot my way out.
Yes, I understand that. But what I was
and you yourself, as a person, you would feel better because you say, well, boy, if anything happened.
Yeah, but Miss Henry, what I was saying earlier,
and
right?
So to suggest you give them the death penalty when you know, not even the Constitution says so.
Yeah, but what? Okay, so let's move aside from this, right, Miss Henry? What would you say, right? And I have some more callers, but I just want to ask you this question: what would you say would be the best remedy right now to dealing with this particular situation, based on the fact that what we're seeing, at least for this week alone?
Now, let me go back to the peace program, right? Remember they said that the leaders of the gangs came together?
We hear many things about the peace program, but go ahead.
Well, right there with a start, you know. They must know the members. They must, even if they don't belong to them. If they got 16 gangs, they know each other.
Yeah,
you understand what I'm saying?
So Ms.
Build
Henry,
some kind of rapport, infiltrate them.
So, Ms. Henry, are you saying then that we should go back to the peace program the way it was before in order to deal with the problem?
They pay them still. They're collecting money still. All the main leaders should be called in. They are the ones who help to keep down. They are the ones, you know, not the police, not the program. They are the ones who exerted whatever influence on the members. So they should be able to give an account as to exactly what has caused the breakdown. But again, we're passing them and we're asking everybody.
Okay. All right. I don't want to be late to the point. I don't want to be late to the point, Miss Henry. You can call back in, but I have some other callers.
Yeah, but think about what I said.
Right. Okay. All right. Thanks. Yes. Again, I know everybody has their opinions and all that. Oh, I missed the caller. Their opinions, but Mr. Asafan was just sharing his opinions, and I'm actually going to play a bit of what he has to say, and then we'll take a break. On the other side of that break, we'll come back with the callers.
This week I want to discuss a different but very important topic: the death penalty and crime. When someone is charged with the offense of murder, there is a time, I think other offenses too, there is a time within which he or she has to be brought to trial. Failing that, the court will throw out the case. Justice delayed is justice denied. There is also a limit on the time that a person convicted of murder and sentenced to death can be held on death row. If he or she is not executed within that time, then there can be no execution thereafter. The legal system in Britain and other countries, which curiously have perpetrated most of history's acts of personal and institutional mass cruelty, inhumanity, and savagery, and still do today in a more disguised way. These people have anointed themselves as the guardians and the bastions of humanitarianism and rectitude, and have guided the law, which includes our law, away from the death penalty as best they could. And only in what are considered to be exceptional circumstances will the law allow a convicted killer to be executed. So that is how things stand in our country. I don't know what the breakdown is, but some people here favor the way the law presently stands, while others see it differently. The others who see it differently want to see the death penalty actively enforced. Here are some thoughts for you to ponder on. The argument often made that the death penalty does not act as a deterrent to crime is not necessarily true. I say this because many years ago, when the death penalty was actively administered, there were less murders. Of course, times have changed, and the people back then may have had greater respect and care for life and for each other and for the law. And I don't think they were as brutish as we are today. But apart from deterring others, when someone is convicted of an extreme murder and he is executed, what the law does is deters him. After he is executed, he isn't going to kill anybody. The family and other loved ones of the victims, and with the people of the country who are hurt and often made fearful and anxious by the brutality of murder, won't now have to spend our money to feed him, to shelter him, and to safeguard him for the rest of his life after what he did to us, not just to the specific victim. And to me, this is an argument worth considering for the case of keeping the death penalty. Now, I'm not saying that the death penalty should be handed down in every case of murder, but I believe that it should be extended to other situations, along with the necessary changes in the law, to ensure that a fair and expeditious justice is exacted in each case. Now, some bleeding hearts in Europe, who, as I've indicated, after hundreds of years of oppressing, robbing, and killing not just bodies, but the minds of hundreds of millions, maybe billions of people from the south and from their own part of the world, the north. When these bleeding hearts come to you with their right to life story, remind them of the last 400 years and ask them to go and carry their story to the United States, USA, and to Singapore. We should not allow them to dictate to us. Now let's get down to some details. I believe that a person who commits robbery, who stops you on the road with a gun or a knife or another weapon, stops you in your car, comes to your home, invades your home, or goes into a business place, armed with a weapon, as I said, to rob and maybe to hurt and do whatever damage he or she needs to do in his mind to get what he or she wants. I believe that such a person should, on conviction, receive the death penalty, because the harm that he commits is far-reaching. Let us look, for example, at the scenario of a robbery at a business place. Shoppers are there. They are frightened to death. Cashiers and other workers are there. They too are frightened to death. People start to think twice before going back to that place. Workers might want to leave that place. With reduced business, the employer might lay off people. Workers and shoppers alike might need psychological and psychiatric attention. The mental and emotional scars could last a lifetime, and the consequences which they suffer are likely to spill over into the lives of their families and other loved ones. Then the business which is robbed loses X amount of money, which might set it back severely, again forcing it to lay off people. Less jobs, less money into the social security, less money for social security benefits, less money into customs and inland revenue, less money to pay public servants and pensions and to run the government, less money into the economy, more people on government welfare programs. All in all, bad news for the economy and the society.
People make the world go
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
50,000? 50,000? $50,000? Win big with TDC! Win up to $50,000 cash in the TDC Mega Rewards Mega Raffle! To enter, you must be a Mega Rewards member or sign up to TDC Mega Rewards Loyalty Program. Shop at our TDC retail stores or online at shoptdcgroup.com to receive one entry for every $250 spent. Draws take place from July to November. Win $10,000 every month with your entry rolled over so you can win and win even more.
Yes, this is 50.
Terms and conditions apply.
People make the world go
And we are back, and we're back here on Inside the News. So, we heard a bit from Mr. Astafan, and we go back to the phone lines and hear from this caller. Caller, good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon. It's me again. Now, I would like to first of all hear the Doya Astafan and what he think about songs of violence and entertainment of violence, especially on the issue of Byron Messiah's song, Taliban, which is very much being celebrated in the Federation. I would like to hear him on the issue, what he think about it. Now, like I said, the Bible has all the answers to all of our problems and the solutions to all of them, and we are not to go beyond the Bible. That is what the Bible commands us and instructs us not to do. Now, where crime and the sort of and punishments are concerned, the Bible let us know what are crimes and what the punishment should be. And when we recommend things or do things that is not in keeping with the Bible instruction and what the punishment of a specific crime supposed to be or is, then we are going beyond the Bible, and that is wrong. For example, we do not, eliminating somebody's hands for stealing. That is not what the Bible recommends. And so since the Bible is the only standard of justice, that is not justice. Recommending the death penalty for robbery, again, that is going beyond the Bible, and that is not justice, because the Bible is the only standard of justice. No, if somebody is robbing somebody...
30 seconds, caller. 30 seconds.
Hello?
30 seconds.
If somebody is robbing somebody, and on the scene, while in the process of robbing people, that person is killed, then that is okay. That is biblical, because people have the right to defend themselves and defend their property and to defend each other. So nothing is wrong with that if in the process the robber is killed. But after he finish and that sort of stuff and taken to court, and you give the robber in court the death penalty for stealing, no, that goes against the Bible. And lastly, I would like to say, contrary to what people think, government disarming its citizens goes against the Bible too. And everything that goes against the Bible is counterproductive in the end. So government hindering its citizens from freely bearing and carrying arms, that also goes against the Bible. Because in the Bible, in places like Romans 13 and other places, the Bible lays down the duties and parameters and boundaries and obligations of government and the nature of government. So whenever we go contrary to the Bible, we are wrong, and what we are doing is counterproductive in the end, and the Bible is the only standard of justice. Anything beyond the Bible is not justice and is not right, but is sinful and to be repented of. Thank you.
All right, thanks, caller. Again, that caller was giving a religious perspective in terms of crime and violence and how we should go about treating those instances of persons found guilty committing these acts. But I think the broader question that we have to ask ourselves is it a case that it's the government who is responsible for dealing with this particular issue, and or is it an all hands on deck approach? What can we as a society do to tackle this problem? And we go back to the phone lines and hear from this caller. Caller, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I have a question to ask. Our way of justice is really under the British system, right?
I didn't get that.
Providing like the death penalty, the British system that is.
Yes.
Well, if we having so many issues with that, why don't we move over to the American system? Give them the legal injection. For the year, America done probably put at least 30 plus people to death in the legal injection.
But Carla, as much as you said that, we are still obligated under international, all these treaties and whatever it is, to do away with
so
some
America
of
don't
some
have
of these
the
systems.
same laws?
America is a country by itself. It's a world by itself.
But if you find someone guilty of a crime and you have the evidence,
but
and
I
the
think-
penalty is
yeah, but I
illegal
think-
injection, are you them on object to that?
There have been objections internally within the United States against the death penalty. But St. Kitts and Nevis and some of these other small territories would have signed on to a lot of agreements and made a lot of commitments. So that is why we have generally moved away from that system, from my understanding.
So basically you're saying if you find someone of a crime is to actually put them in prison for the rest of their life and the people feed them. That's what it is.
Well, if you put it that way, yes.
Huh?
If you put it that way, yes.
But it's not fair, especially to the person.
We
I
we
myself,
can argue.
I had been robbed before, gunpoint. Yeah, I had been robbed, but hey, I just put it in the hand of God, because if I had do what I wanted to do, I don't know if I might have been on the inside or outside.
So my question to you, right, caller, is this: what do you think is should be our approach to dealing with this problem? Because what we've been seeing in recent months, years, is that the issue is pervasive amongst the young people. What do you believe we can do to tackle this specific issue?
It's a very difficult situation. As they say, it's hard to bend a tree when it's already grown. A lot of it have to actually goes down to the school level. But in the teenage and the early 20s that what we have here right now, I don't know if it's stiffer penalty, even jail for life, which changes fabric of those people right now. We now are kind of hard place, because they say we sign on to so many agreements. It's hard to really kill them, but what to stop them, I don't know. The police have to be more active, you know what I mean, try to prevent these things from happening.
But Carlo, would you say that dealing with the issue first starts in the home?
Yes. You see what happened is too many single parents that growing up. And a lot of father, they are not coming up to the responsibility. I always say if a man can get 6 to 10 children, it's not proving a man. It's when you start to take care of your children, that's when you prove a man, because if you're getting children here and there, like happening here in St. Kitts and in the U.S., people are not standing up to their kids. You see what happened? The police is just shooting them down in America because father is not taking control of the kids. Don't hear the kids, them just doing as they like, and which is not good. You know, and it's tough, man. It's tough to hear some of these things happening in a small place like
Would you
St.
recommend, right, that the government begin family planning within the schools, or when, let's say, somebody is pregnant and they're going to the clinics for their usual checkups, that you have sessions with them during that time, because a lot of young people now are also getting pregnant and making children, that we should
I think a lot of the training have to do with some of the parents. A lot of the parents actually need more training. I think especially if you go to the government school, I think the government should have something in place that even maybe once, twice a term, 3 times a term, parents get a guidance and a crash course, you know, how to go about stuff. You know what I mean? The parents have to take some responsibility as well. You know what I mean? These kids is actually acting out. When I look at some of the pictures that, well, they're accused of the robbery in Rams, these are young people. Or you want to tell me they don't have nothing else to do but this? This is all they could have sit home and think about? That's sad. Very sad. But, you know, as I say, we in a rock and a hard place, you know. Yeah, we are too modernized now. We are too Americanized now. We need to go back to the old-time African way of training our children, you know. Society, they say you cannot discipline your children anymore, so all that is another problem. I mean, you might have problem in your home. How many you can discipline your own child? So that's another problem we got to work on. You know, we have to drop some of the stuff. You know, we have to give and take. Anyhow, you have a nice day. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, caller. Yeah, we will quickly acknowledge our partners again. Rams, sorry, I correct myself. TDC and Carib Brewery, and we'll continue with the discussions on Inside the News.
We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
And we are back with Inside the News. Yes. So, yes, we're discussing the issue of crime and violence, and we go back to the phone lines. Caller, good afternoon.
Greetings forward, my brother. Yeah, we get a book pending first call. But the point he was making is concerning monies, you know, that article what was reading there. Yeah, then was $120 million. So it was the Corona era. And we say if monies was spent, right, for them purposes, as I say, it is a whole list of things from 1 to 17. Can't run down all of them. But if money was spent in the Federation, the paying back, if the arrangement with the payback ain't come to as it ought, well, you know, government continues and it just to make sure that the payback is there. But there were some people taking it, you know. I don't know, maybe the rate was announced, like this $120 million was just disappear, just stolen. But then what we shared earlier is showing us that money was spent during the Corona era to do a whole heap of things, you know, stimulus, blah, 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 they call it stimulus package, yeah? So let me bear that in mind as we go forward and talking about this money, what is not accounted for, yeah? As we hearing a lot of things pertaining to that, some people jail and this and that and third the other, you know? The so-called crime thing. Let us remind all and sundry that the case, the greatest crime against humanity, as we talk about crime and violence, them case are not try yet. Yeah, it not try in The Hague, and it not try nowhere. Them case there, as Dwyer rightly said, we'll keep reminding them and those about the 400 and odd years of atrocities that is unimaginable. Yeah? Whenever they open them out, let us remind them that. You know, yeah, me I tell you, the robbery thing, you know, it come out say that them solve that. Me not hear no they release any announcement say anyone was charged.
So again, this is the latest information that we have. This is the latest information that we have, caller. At least from the police force. I have not seen any other press release. The police did indicate to us yesterday that 5 people were taken into custody. They have not identified any of them. They've not released any photos. They've not released any names or anything like that. They've just said that
I think some photos come out. The people got some photos that circulate. Photos with people face and photos with a whole heap of money.
Hold on, caller. So this is what I'm saying, right? At least what I have received, right, and what I have seen thus far from the police force. And this is up to yesterday afternoon, because I can say this. We had a meeting with the police. And this is the media association had a meeting with the police yesterday. Right, so that is all the information that we have.
No charges. In the meeting, there was no sound about people being charged with the robbery.
No, what is being reported is what we have. 5 people were taken into police custody, assisting them with their investigations. We have not gotten names, the amounts, or any photos. That did not come from official sources.
All right, we know that they go. You know, is that thing. You know, in some other spaces, you know, as I said, there's places circulating, and there's a bulk of money circulating. What they said the police get forward, you know, when they apprehended these persons. You know, perhaps in some spaces, in other spaces, well, the police, the police department, we have to say, in accordance with what Mr. Asafan is saying, of such elements, perhaps in other spaces, there would be no arrest. Perhaps them people in other spaces, them people that would have dead, you know, being the crime that it is, and guns involved, etc., etc. You know, and the situation.
Okay, I don't want to belittle the point, right? I have.
My family made a sound say when Mr. Asafan was in the government in his capacity of Minister of National Security, he had a king. I don't like the word that you king with the gang. King. What is this thing? And if the Minister of National Security have a concern with citizens being harassed, then we don't care who the citizens are, even if they are so-called crime members, gang members or whatever. He have a right to be concerned about citizens being harassed. Yeah? No matter who the citizens are. In his capacity as Minister of National Security or whatever. Yeah? So that is neither here nor there. For him to reach to a point up to the time of making the statements, of saying what he's saying, yeah, he's free to say what he has to say. And that is his opinion. As you rightly said, that is Mr. Astafan's opinion. Yeah? So to go back and dig back in, people like to do that, dig back when he was minister, when he was part of government. That is neither here nor there. Yeah? Neither here nor there. Give time to the time. Blessed Lord.
All right, caller. Thanks. And well, we don't have any.
The brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
People make the world go round.
And yes, we are back here on Inside the News. This is our final caller for the afternoon. Caller, good afternoon.
Yes, Abel. Now, yes. According to the guy who say the Bible way. Now, if you're familiar with the Bible, Abel, the Old Testament says an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. We have in the New Testament that the Jesus who he always uphold, the Bible where I'm referring to, Jesus said, ye have heard in days of old that an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. But I say, turn the other cheek, love your enemy, and do good to those that despitefully hates you. Abel, how are we supposed to wrap our mind around this? Ye have heard in the old days an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. But I say in the New Testament, Jesus, that I say, turn the other cheek, love your enemy, and do good to those that despitefully hurt you. Now, the guy, Bible, according to the Bible way, he's saying, the only way is the Bible way. But how are we supposed to understand that the Old Testament said this, and then he said, but yet the guy himself is saying, the only way is the Bible way. Which are we supposed to apply to us in our reality today, Abel? No, the whole thing is so mixed up. But I will say this, Abel. We're supposed to seek the truth, identify the truth with our reality, and know what fits for us. Now, all of us are not, there are weak elements and there are strong elements in all of us. What do I mean by that? We are all not the same temperament. There are those who would fight fire with fire, and there are those who would turn away to preserve, like, let's say, confrontation, to say, okay, well, if you're going to come at me with a weapon of death, I would flee to spare my life and maybe your life. But, you know, it's so confusing coming from the Bible way that John the Baptist is upholding. I mean, let us look at what is written, because in as much as he's saying the Bible way is really? The Bible is the only book that we were supposed to read by our colonizers. I mean, if they caught us reading anything else, we were killed. And then they enforce us to read this Bible that, you know, the Bible way that Greg is upholding. I mean, something is wrong here, Abel. I don't know if you're seeing what I'm saying, but I am saying, let us speak the truth. Because I am not trashing the book. Mm-hmm. Don't get me wrong. There are principles in the book, and I keep repeating this. There are principles, there are guidelines, but their standard has been set. Now, let me remind you quickly, Abel. When I first started hearing my voice on the radio, I read Lord Macaulay's letters to the British Parliament, I think in 18-something. I'm forgetting the year now, where he made an observation on a geographic space on the continent of Africa, where he said, I have never seen a thief, a robber, a beggar, or a prison in the African space. What does that say to us? There were plenty enough that nobody had to steal, nobody had to beg. There was not a prison. We had our civilization, Abel. And we were interrupted and disrupted by a lesser being. Call it whatever you want. I choose to call them a lesser being, colonization, and then slavery. That's the Caucasian who have disrupted us and interrupted us because we had everything in our space. I am saying to Gregory and the Christian community, the black man has traveled the four corners of this planet, but he has not ruled the way Caucasian have ruled, because there's no way on our planet where the black man have created genocide, atrocity to any other race. Look at their footprints where they go, Abel. Look at their footprints everywhere they go, even today, in what is taking place in Niger with NATO. We have to let our voices be heard that Niger will not become a Libya by France, America, and NATO. Thank you for hearing me.
All right, caller, and that was our final caller for today. We've been, it was another busy week of news here in St. Kitts and Nevis. So we tried to jump a bit deeper into it, take politics out of it, and get people to understand what exactly it is and how it's impacting them. Well, we have come to the end of the show for today. Yeah, I was again in the hot seat. So, yes, we heard about the crime and violence that occurred over the last week. We also saw a statement from the police on an incident this morning that left one person nursing a gunshot injury. I'm trying to pull up that press release to give you that information before I go. We had the robberies last weekend, more shootings this week, and we had this shooting this morning. Well, and a little bit of further bad news to add to it. The game between the St. Kitts Nevis Patriots and the Trinbago Knight Riders, that game has been called off because of rain, wet outfield. So, yes. But don't worry, they'll be right here in St. Kitts and Nevis from Wednesday, so you guys can go out and, support the Patriots while they're here in St. Kitts and Nevis. Yes. And just before I go, trying to get the press release open to give you the information on the shooting this morning. But yes, so do support, do go out, enjoy the games with the St. Kitts Nevis Patriots. I know they should be back in action tomorrow, Sunday, against St. Lucia. So, yes, the press release is not opening right now. But, there it is. Yeah, so the police are investigating a shooting incident that occurred on August 19th in the Fort Lands, St. Kitts area. The crime was committed between 5:30 and 6:30 a.m. According to preliminary inquiries, 28-year-old Dave Henry of Fines Avenue was fired upon by armed assailants while driving home. He crashed his vehicle while attempting to escape and sustained a gunshot wound to his left arm. During the incident, he sought assistance at the Special Services Unit SSU base of the police force in Fort Lands and was transported to the J.N. France Hospital by officers. He is currently warded for treatment of his injuries. So that's the latest on that shooting incident that occurred this morning. Well, that was it. That has brought us to the end of the program for today. I was Jermaine Abel sitting in again. I definitely would not be sitting in next week. So do enjoy, stay safe, stay hydrated, and enjoy the weekend and have a safe week.